98.1. This is Business Express. Yes, we're talking about everything related to business. It's a Tech Friday edition of the show. And as always, we love it when you're a part of it. So I'll let you know how you can let us know your thoughts. WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at smooth981. And we're streaming live on YouTube, so you can catch that live stream up on our YouTube channel as well.
This morning, we are joined by a man who would someday meet with Elon Musk and have him sit down for proper schooling and discussion on some issues someday. But until that day comes, let's make welcome Fisayo Durojaye, General Partner, Ancestors Advisory. Welcome, Ancestor.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everyone listening and watching today. Excited to be here this morning.
All right, so Fisayo, let's begin. AI is in the news once again, and well, it's generally shaped the course of conversation for this year, and so that's why we'd like you to begin with that. Artificial intelligence and ChatGPT have been one of the biggest stories for this year. What do you make of this New York Times suing OpenAI for copyright infringement?
I think we'll have to wait and see how the story develops, because the truth is that I'm not sure I have a position on it yet, unless I see the way the arguments are shaping up as much. Okay, so generative AI, right, depends on information on the internet, available on the internet, to help give answers to prompts. So if I ask about anything at all, right, what the AI model does is simple, is that it goes through the internet and finds solutions to that problem and present it as though it's an original idea, right? So that's the basis of the generative AI model. So it means that for the model to continue to give good quality information, it has to continue to see information, get information from different sources, and train itself. As people use the model, ask tough questions, it gets better at answering, questions like that. However, the Times is saying that, well, we've put out information on the internet, which is, in this case, intellectual property, right? Which people actually pay for to read. But what your AI model is doing is that it has gone to our own intellectual property, read our articles, used that articles or materials that we've put out as the basis of giving response to users. And I'm not being paid for it. So how do we, figure out a way to balance, this strange scenario where I want, OpenAI or other, generative AI models to, how do they interact with intellectual property or production that is backed up by some intellectual property rights behind it, right? And how do you balance that? I guess that's where the question is. The flip side is to say that, okay, if AI doesn't have access to published materials that are, backed up by intellectual property protections, will their usefulness, will it be as useful to users? On the other hand, again, that's the question still open up for debate, because again, if you're not reading the Times, can you read Nairametrics? If you're not reading New York Times, can you read something else that is free, that is not available? And how do you then use those information to present reliable answers to your own users? I guess that's where the balance is. But if I'm going to make a wild guess, I think that when something is protected by intellectual property, it should be treated as such. So I guess that in this case, I will see OpenAI losing, the court case, right? Or figuring a way to ensure that they work a commercial that ensures that people like Times or intellectual property-based materials that these OpenAI models learn from get a portion of the revenue that they earn from subscription on their platform. I guess that's where the win-win solution is going to come out from.
So somehow in your submission, I could just hear I could just hear echoes of garbage in, garbage out. So it seemed OpenAI, artificial intelligence, they're not as smart as they want to make them look like, without properties they can pick out from. But I also see and hear echoes of plagiarism in it. But help us link this. Is this legal battle similar to what the media platforms in Australia compelled Facebook to compensate them for using their news articles?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's similar, but it's not quite the same. So, well, not just even Australia, even in Canada. I think Canada is going to the gutters anyway. But anyways, it's a conversation we'll have later. When you have, sorry, let me not get into politics. Anyways, let me answer the question specifically. Right. The challenge here is that Facebook is not quite the same. Facebook is saying that I don't create content. I don't, publish anything. Anything on Facebook is user generated, right? So it means that if a user puts a link to an article on Facebook, well, then it is user generated. If you don't want it to be linked, then you can remove it. Right? That's number one. Number two is that sometimes these news platforms want the wide reach of their materials, so they put it on social media. So essentially, what government is trying to do is to say, how do I compel social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or all sorts, right, to pay for a content that is published on their platform? Again, that doesn't make sense because number one, Facebook doesn't publish content. Users are the ones that see. This is why consistency is key. I remember back in the days when Twitter was being, vilified for content posted by users that appears to be, in quotes, racist or anti-Semitic, and Twitter has been fine. Like, it doesn't make sense because Twitter doesn't make those content. It is users that make the content. And as a user, I can block content that I don't want to see. I can block people that I don't want to see. So why is the platform itself being vilified for content posted by people using the platform? So it's the same argument. How do you want to charge a platform that doesn't post content, that doesn't create content, that doesn't do anything? Why do you want to make them pay for content that's been distributed by the news platforms themselves on their platform? It doesn't make sense. It is consistency. But of course, you see people that argue for the latter and try to, be against that argue for the former and try to be against the letter. It doesn't make sense, Again, that's where my big issues are. So it's similar. It's similar debacle, but here it is to say that you can't force a platform that doesn't create or distribute, that doesn't create content, to pay for content that it didn't create, that is user generated, that the news agency themselves put on their platform for distribution to their own customers. So again, it's just one of those,
All right,
decision.
let us know your thoughts. 0809 444 0981. A message coming through. This one is from Fine Oluboroko, and he says, I think it's time that these generative AI should start paying royalties for intellectual properties, since we also pay to use OpenAI. All right, so moving away from OpenAI, let's talk about electric vehicles. Xiaomi, which is a well-known phone maker, has now found its way into the electric vehicle arena. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, I don't know. I know Xiaomi is seen as the Apple of China, right? And of course, I know that we've been having conversation around Apple getting into electric vehicle conversation as well. But Apple is typically very slow when it comes to innovation. Apple is a platform that will release a dual SIM phone and claim innovation in 2023. I mean, makes no sense to me. Where Chinese phone have been releasing triple SIM phones since I was a baby, right? So they release a dual SIM phone and be shouting innovation up and down. And I like, even the dual SIM phone can't take two SIM cards. It's one full SIM and a virtual SIM, and they're shouting dual SIM phone. I like, come on, guys, Apple. Like, this I've been using, for years on my Samsung phone. Why are you now just making it look like started? Anyways, back to the Xiaomi conversation. Apple is being pushed for a long time to say, get into this electric vehicle conversation, because again, they might have the technology to do that. But Apple is known as particularly being slow when it comes to innovation. But of course, when they eventually get into the innovative space, they then make it look like it is new, when of course people have been using it for years before. But again, why would Xiaomi get into electric vehicles? I think that's the core. And of course, the additional skill, the battery technology is available already. There's nothing new, essentially. It's more or less like design and all the things you need to make an electric vehicle can be, to a large extent, open source. No, not open source, can be licensed. So think around the software, the batteries, the design of the bodies, the I was going to say the transmission system, but it's not transmission because again it's electric, right? So all the things you need for a proper electric vehicle manufacturing is available, right? So why not just do it if you can, right? So I guess that's where the thing is. And of course, bringing that back to concern with Apple is that people are saying that the future for Apple is a lot gloomier because right now Apple is not leading in almost any category again. For instance, it used to be leading with number of mobile phones in circulation, but it's no longer doing that because again Chinese alternatives are there, and of course there's strong competition from Samsung and of course other Android mobile phones. Apple is not leading in AI because again that's being driven by Microsoft, Google, and many other platforms. Apple is not leading in electric vehicle, which is being driven largely by Tesla and of course other auto manufacturers. So again, the question is that what is the new driver of innovation or growth for our $1 trillion company, which is Apple, outside of the buzz of selling outdated mobile phone as innovation, right? Again, it's just one of those things that we have to deal with, again, from a business perspective, I guess. I mean, why are you laughing? They are largely
outdated mobile phones. That was so shady, Fisayo. All right, we have just about a minute to go. And I want to ask you this. There was a debate on, yes, time goes by really quickly. There was a debate on TV between two analysts where they were trying to debate on whether Chinese electric vehicles could be sold in the US. What do you think about that?
So again, it's an argument on two sides to say because China, to a large extent, is not capitalist. It's more or less, state-backed capitalism, meaning that they support their enterprise if they want to support, and so that they kill them if they want to kill them, which is what they've done to Alibaba and a few. But of course, when it comes to electric vehicles, right, it's a point of competition for China, right? And of course, one of the things they're doing is to support some of their electric vehicle manufacturers, right? Giving them subsidy around labor, giving them subsidy around battery technology, giving them subsidy around distribution, just ensuring that, yes, they're able to deliver electric vehicles at a fraction of the cost. And of course, then supporting them to then ship these electric vehicles outside of China to everywhere in the world. The question here is that US is saying that we are innovators in this electric vehicle space. Should we allow Chinese competitors to come into our country and sell, knowing that, yes, we are, in quote, the biggest market, maybe second to, first and close to second to China. So do you allow cars that have competitive advantage over your own cars to come into the country at a fraction of the cost, thereby making your own cars uncompetitive compared to what you get from China? Again, is that competition? I think that the way government should deal with that is going to be leveling, what's called tariffs, import duties, to ensure that, yes, the landing cost of that vehicle gets to as high as what Tesla will get to, and then of course competition in the US as it becomes at par.
Well, thank you very much, Fisayo. There would be time for 3Gs and 5G conversation. We'll roll that over to next year, and that will be one looking forward to get to have that conversation. But let's see the messages we've got here from Tayo. The claim against ChatGPT seems valid for also platform charges for its services. There is no free lunch anywhere, not even in Freetown. The only issue might be a rise in cost of usage. That's what Tayo's submission is this morning. And then as for Precious from Ogba, Fisayo, you've just ruined the Friday for some people who feel like it's an achievement whenever they hold that thing with the sign of half of it missing, beaten away by someone who we are still yet to identify. It says you just spoiled their day for them this Friday. You diminish their ego right now. Anyway, Fisayo.
Thank you, Fisayo, for being on the show with us this morning. Thank you for listening.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for your
having me.
messages. And that is it for Business Express. Stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth
Yeah.
Breakfast.